Well, about 95 to 99% of the challenges that you run into as an S-LTA will eventually be resolved either independently or through collaboration with your team manager or faculty member. There are two particular situations in which you were kind of going to bypass all the other typical channels that you would use for support and go directly to myself, Lisa Rowe, the Assistant Director of Service Learning, or our Director, Becca Berkey. And those two are related specifically to safety and parents, and we consider them our red flags. So most of our students that are first year students are pretty new to Boston, right? Not many of them are from the Boston area, or if they are, they might be going and participating in neighborhoods and activities that they're not familiar with. And so if there is a safety issue, that is one of those times that you want to go directly to us. Now, you're going to need to use your judgment because this kind of falls as it's all a great area, but there's kind of two distinct things. One is an actual safety concern. So someone was mugged or had a medical emergency on the way to service, something of that nature where there's like a clear definitive piece, and hopefully that student, and we can talk about what the follow through looks like because it looks really different in different scenarios, but it's pretty clear cut. The other version of that is a perceived safety issue. And what we mean by this is, and I'll give you an example. A student will say, I don't want to go back to service because I was on the bus and someone looked at me funny. Or my mom told me this is a bad neighborhood. I shouldn't be serving here. Right? So those are issues of perceived safety, right? And that could usually be addressed by coaching and conversation and education between you and the faculty member addressing the student. And it is important to remember that we don't send students to communities that are not safe. People live and work all across the city, and so to assume that an area is unsafe for a student, even though a family might walk that area every day. So again, this is not always clear cut, and you might need to use your gut, and if you're not sure, you should ask. But really understanding if there's a major safety issue, please let us know. The other red flag, the second red flag, and usually the two are intertwined, is when parents get brought up. So in the case of the example of a student who says, my parent, my guardian is going to call the university because they just found out I'm serving in Roxbury and they went to school here in the 70s and they said, no way, that's dangerous, so I can't go back and my mom's going to call the school. That is a situation where we should know. Not because we are going to then call up the student's parent and have a conversation with them, but because it's really important because that parent could get on the phone with the school or the president's office and so forth. And so as the communication channels that go, we never want to be and hear about an issue within our own program from someone else that says, hey, I didn't know this was happening. So if issues of safety and parents are coming up in your classroom, please let us know. And the ones that are urgent, please find a way to call us, email us as soon as possible. Okay? We'll provide additional resources on Basecamp around safety. And one thing really to mention is if something happens while you're there to provide resources for your student, you are not expected to be the student's counselor and coach them throughout those pieces. Likely you're not a licensed counselor, we are not licensed counselors, and there are resources on this campus to support students in situations of trauma or medical need. Okay, so we don't want that burden on you, but we can help you and the student connect to where they need to be. This does not come up often. Maybe it happens once, maybe twice a year. It's very rare, but we want you to be prepared and thinking about, okay, if something were to happen, what would my plan of action be? And we might need to go off script or something when you run into a situation, but we at least want you to not be caught off guard if something is to happen.